resultaten då, för de vet inte riktigt vilka nästa som ryttarna väljer att ta med till världscupen på söndag. Om man hade sett klassen i sig här idag och inte vet att det ska vara världscupen på söndag så hade det nog också annorlunda ut. Men jag tror absolut första tecken på att Smolders musik här kommer vara väldigt snabba. Det är också en väldigt naturligt snabb häst.
Ja, man kan säga att den hästen har jag hört otroligt mycket och vad tycker du om den hästen?
Den är väldigt intelligent, inlig klok och både Harry är otroligt snabb och sen tänker väldigt snabb i landningen och i svängarna. Så jag hoppas att han kan till en superrunda.
Ja, och det är ju så här att det var en smaklig som här och ska man spela så är det en smaklig så de fick ju sig lite nummer här. Det är så att det är väldigt få så som de inte måste förstå.
Ja, jag är inne på att göra en sån politik. Det är också en väldigt snabb häst. Jag vet inte om de har en världscupen, men jag tror absolut att de ska ta tag i honom.
Ja, vad säger du om Filip om de svenska hundarna? Vi vet ju att Andersson har vunnit här 2 gånger och jagat den tredje seger. Kan du visa så?
Alltså det blir antingen bättre än Malin och det blir inte det som är med på om man går för det inte. Och det får vi inte se om Malin om vad vi kommer gå för idag eller om vi kommer ta någonstans. Men det är klart att man på svensk vinst.
Ja, vad säger du om den nationella assist från hästkontrakt?
Ja, väldigt fin och snabb häst. Också väldigt sammansatsad med hästen och känner in runt. Så att som sagt, jag hoppas att vi kommer från svenska. Det är kul.
Ja, och hade det varit en häst då, ja, det är ju som jag sett på det här otroligt fina.
Ja, det är en fantastiskt fin häst, Luftfrån och Malin. Så jag tror absolut att det kommer vara fel här ikväll. Men jag vet inte om de kommer vinna, men absolut felfritt.
Så du tror inte att det kommer att bli Deusser?
Nej, jag tror faktiskt inte det. Jag tror mer på Antonella i så fall. För hon har haft en fantastisk fin vinter som nu på nästan alla sina hästar. Så det känns som att hon är ett vinnargame.
En som inte har pratat om, det är ju Deusser. Vad kan du säga om det? Det är jättefint sådär.
Framförallt ser han också både snabbt och sagt ryktat som kan sluta med i gamet annars. Jag tror mer på Smolders som jag skulle välja. Men absolut på till oss.
Finns det någon sån här, som vi brukar säga, travspråksgrej som man inte kanske förväntar sig som skulle kunna ligga som en force i det här läget?
Jag tror att skrällarna ligger med övriga hästar. Så lägger vi lite slant där i så fall.
Just det, det är ju 20 övriga hästar och det är en samling av många där.
Exakt. Och det är där skrällarna ligger tror jag.
Ja.
Och jag blir inte förvånad om det är någon av dem som faktiskt kommer att stå som seger här ikväll.
Spännande. Vi ser att man går vad får ni för känsla för den här banan?
Det är kvinnor. Ja, såklart. Men som jag sa, jag har inte varit månad nu så jag tycker att det skulle vara intressant att se klassen och se hur bombingarna har ställt ut det och vad som är för att ligga. Det kommer också vara lite lägen för de svåra nästan av helgen och bombingarna nästan. Det är en sån och det var väldigt många och jag hoppas att klassen har kommer att stå ut.
Ja, vad tror du om det? Vad kan man se för utmaningar här?
Men det ser sådana väldigt bra. Jag tycker att det är väldigt kul, väldigt roliga banor som jag har sett tidigare i Göteborg. Och jag tycker att han bygger väldigt fint med färger och han blandar lite svårigheter med lite helgjorda infär på skorna och lite helgjorda och tankar på topp. Så det är lite klurigt på den hästen runt där, men väldigt färg.
Ja, vad säger arenan här då? Publiken här inne? Det brukar vara en magisk stämning när man har här.
Alltså, jag älskar publikinställande. Både jag och Filip har ju fått vara inne med magiskt. Så det är extra kul att alla värmen.
Vad säger du om Filip och vad du stämmer av?
Det är fantastiskt. Det är fint. Trycket här inne. Rider ut lampen. Likadant i våra skåpar. Man kan också vänta innan man går ut lampen. Och när turen är felfri då hör man trycket. Man hör vibrationen man går med lampan. Nej, det är en otrolig känsla som det kommer att vara dessa packat där kväll.
Ja, många strömmar in här. Det ska säga för er som inte kanske har lärt från början på. Alltså, det är ju spännande och laddade på en fantastisk
Well, a very good evening, everybody. Welcome to FEI TV and welcome along to the Gothic Scandinavian, one of the most prestigious venues on the indoor international calendar, and of course a venue that has hosted some quite amazing competitions over the years. 15 different times we've held the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup final here, including the inaugural final back in 1979. And of course on Sunday there'll be another leg of this year's Western European League that will of course be heading to Fort Worth for the finals in Texas. Well, this particular class is the qualifier for the World Cup leg here on Sunday. And out there right now, the riders have just been having an opportunity. There's a man that's won 2 legs of the Western European League already this year, Longines, the Dutch star. It's got Grand Dorado in the field tonight, but of course Pretty Woman is here as well, who's won those 2 legs. But again, there's a really strong field. Jimmy Gullikson, another having a little look there with his son Johan. Both, of course, riding for Norway alongside Oda Charlotte Dinadier, the other Norwegian rider tonight, who was the rider that finished second in Coruña back in December. And there's a man that was in great form last night, the Japanese star, Sato. He jumped a brilliant clear in the opening round of the big class on a Thursday night. I'm sure he'll be hoping to follow that up here this evening. But the bell sounding to say it's time to wrap up the course walk. Peter Schumacher, our course designer, he is the man that has set this track out in this wonderful oval-shaped arena that has, as I say, been the venue for some historic competitions over the years. And tonight, actually, there's some British riders in the class. John Whittaker not taking place. Start that again. John Whittaker not in tonight, although he is here. And of course, it's the famous site of one of his wins on Milton. Right, Peter Schumacher's course tonight, 12 obstacles, 15 jumping efforts, 1 metre 55, and a time allowed, when it becomes relevant, of 71 seconds. It is 1 round of jumping, faults and time, as quick as you can, and it's 1 of 2 5-star competitions here this evening. Mentioning the Whittakers, of course, last night was the opening night of the competitions for the 5-star riders. We saw a brilliant win from Robert Whittaker, with Equine America Vimento coming out on top of that one. Tonight he's got gentleman Van Heck Beldinghoff, the 20-year-old, is one of the senior horses in this class. There's a couple of those, but there's some great riders up and down the field. And of course the likes of Swedish star Petronella Andersson alongside Daniel Deusser, of course both part of the Stefex stables in Belgium. And there's Geir Gullikson, Yuri Manser and his ever brilliant Vitiki. And then France's Julien Acatin will be looking for a strong performance tonight. Harry Smolders brings forward Mr. Tack, one of the world's top 20 here. Philip Schultz to top off tonight. Chooses of Vivantes, having jumped well last night. Malin with her long-standing friend and partner H&M Indy Anna, of course always popular here at home. And as Anna Olsen there with Diddy Z, another of the home riders. Jodie Hall-McAteer, another that got into the jump-off last night. But you can see there's a real mix of nations here this evening. Longines and Dennis Lynch getting the sort of premier part of the draw, really, because they're right down the back end. And that, I'm sure, will work to their advantage with Vista Grand and Grand Dorado TMNOP. Well, the music's kicked in, the lights have dropped, and now we can have a little look out the back to what is a fabulous warm-up arena. Of course, the facilities here at the Scandinavian are well rehearsed in terms of how they're used and how they've been ever improved to ensure that they have all of what is required in that huge warm-up arena down there. Just that little slope they come up, sort of sees them walking on up into the arena. Just having a look who we've got out there at the moment. So Yuri and Vitiki, and I have a feeling that's Kevin Stoop, the French rider, the world number 27. Got Vida Locazette in the field this evening. 60,000 euros worth of prize money. And this arena, I was saying last night, it always is sort of, it fascinates me because of its shape. You always find it just rides a little bit different. You don't have those corners in quite the same way. So it sort of just always seems to keep the riders having to be a little bit more concentrated. There seems always to be a little bit less room to relax. Not that there's ever much room in this sport for a rider to relax, to be fair. they're always having to push pretty hard in terms of their concentration. So, ever closer to the start here tonight. It should be an absolute thrill ride. Looking forward to this. Some brilliant horses and riders. I wouldn't want to call it, certainly before it started. Looking down the order, it's a tough one to work out. One thing I did notice, actually, and in fact it's relevant because it's the first one in, is one of the 9-year-olds. There's actually 2 9-year-olds in the field tonight. And I say that because every other horse is 10 or more, and we're going all the way up to 20 years of age. So there's an 18-year-old, there's a couple of 18-year-old horses in tonight, and 17-year-olds as well. But I say that because I'm noticing, when you look at Jefferson with Scott, but it's the longevity, and isn't it testament to the riders, to the obvious care and attention that they and their teams take to these horses to give them that amazing longevity in the sport? And I think it's something that we should notice and salute. And these horses, they love doing it. And but of course you need to bring the young ones in as well, and this lady's been doing that over the course of the winter. Was actually jumping this mare in Amsterdam. Just again, it's all about mileage at this age, just turned 9. The Finnish rider is Jasmine Spanagerink. She rides her mare by Atomic Z, called Attention Z. The first out this evening, Finland's opportunity. We'll see how this course begins to ride. The prize of Hooks is the name of the show's class. It's 1 metre 55. 60,000 euros, 1 round of jumping, faults and time, 14 jumping efforts over Peter Schumacher's course. Quite a long run, isn't there, from 1 to 2. I wonder if they'll look anyone to come a little bit on the inside line there. Fortunately, just clipping the rail at 4, and you've got 12 alongside it on the inside line. Here's what I mean, you're turning all the time, finding those different lines. Beautifully done through the combination. 2 stride, 1 stride, parallel, upright, parallel. And then that turn back. Coming at about 90 degrees across the middle of the arena. And again, you can see not a lot of room. Ooh, hang on a moment. I wonder if just a little bit of confusion maybe there with attention. Perhaps just a little bit more focused on the fence that she's already jumped. Of course, that's got the pole down as well, which I guess adds to a little bit of distraction. Now focusing in. I just wonder if that is part of the problem that we'll see with that final jump. Able just to keep your horse focused on the pole that you are looking to go over. Now the time at 82.55 inevitably brings some time penalties into that as well. So we combine it all for a total of 20. Long way to go. This is the pole she had down. Just looking to turn a little bit into that next line. Again, once you start turning, it becomes that much more difficult, and there part of that learning experience. Well, Felix Koller for Austria goes next. His mare, 13 years of age, called Cossinelle, is by Cascadello out of a Quebec mare. Took over from Milicia Delilova, who rode this horse on some of the Nations Cups in the EEF series last year. So these two getting on quite quickly. Salzburg in the 4-star back at the beginning of December. They finished in the top 5, both in the Grand Prix and in the Grand Prix qualifier there. Done. into the final fence and setting a final time of 65.02. But it is a one fence down and a score of 4, so best of the two. Admittedly, gives us a better clue as to maybe where the times are going to go. I think we'll get down much closer to 60 seconds before we've seen a winner here this evening. The Volvo fence, gentle nudge is all you ever need with a plank like that. Team watching on from the sideline. So 2 are gone, and on we go to the first of the riders tonight in the world's top 30. Daniel Deusser with his great stallion of the Stefex stables, Otello de Golden Bloom by the Great Tobago Z, that has already been a winner on the Western European League this year with the World Cup win in Verona. And then, they had an amazing year. They were 4th in Mechlin in the World Cup qualifier and 2nd in Bordeaux most recently. Since Bordeaux, Daniel went back out to the United Arab Emirates, where he helped Germany to 2nd in the Longines League of Nations. And now he's back here to try and pick up some more points come Sunday. But this is a cracking partnership. They really do have form on their side as well. And Daniel really been able to enjoy the ride, knowing Otello's going to deliver when he gets there. Look at that. Comes inside. Absolutely brilliant. It almost looked effortless. It was a classy performance once more. And I said we'd see a winner down close to 60. Well, forget that. Daniel Deusser just went round in 56.84. That will take an awful lot of catching tonight. Daniel was at his best, and Otello once more delivering a supreme round. The confidence just oozes from the two of them when they're together, and it is an absolute pleasure to watch when they are able to do things. I mean, this turn was just second to none. Look at that. And others will make the turn, but it was the way he kept the momentum and was able to get the turn in, keeping momentum, and then push forward to the fence. Well, game on. Now another part of the Stefex stables. I guess there's a chance they walk the course together, so let's see what happens here with Petronella Anderson, of course, the first we see tonight for Sweden as well. Big moment as ever, competing here in front of the home crowd, and this with the horse that she won the Grand Prix on in Mechlin back at the end of last year. Stefex stables. Udina Vanek Klapchuk, the mare by Zazu. Nicely done, she came in tight. She's not going to hang around. She's trying to see if she can catch Daniel Deusser. She's got to push all the way. Did a brilliant job to keep her balance through that. Now, how does she handle the turn? She's gone that bit wider. She's gone to keep the momentum, but taken the wider line. 56.84. It's not going to be a huge amount in this. And she lands in 58.26, so a cracking performance from the Swedish rider, the first tonight for Sweden. Petronella Anderson, Adina van Klantschut therefore in second, 58.26. There was not a lot wrong with that round, was there? Again, hugely impressive rider and a wonderful partner with that lovely mare. She's looking just beautifully relaxed. Now she's finished. She's pretty relaxed all the way around, and I mean, where are we looking at a difference of around about 1.5 seconds, which may be coming down, which might really just come down to the turn back when Daniel got the inside line on the turn back from 9 to 10. after the rear upright coming back to the FEI fence. But the race continues. Back into the world's top 30. Kevin Stuck, France's first chance of the night with the lovely Vida Locazette, the mare by Viga de Sui, the 10-year-old that has certainly shown she's got pace aplenty. Yeah, had a few good wins with her last year. So she's been using on the World Cup circuit. Got into the jump off into the top 6 in London in the Grand Prix. But the plank has gone. Trying to keep it tight on the turn. Nice round of jumping. Time's actually good enough for second, had the fence not fallen, so 57.34. He's got within half a second of Daniel Deusser. Kevin Stuck therefore goes into third. John Anderson for the moment at least stays in second, but it was that turn back. He was just trying to come as tight as he could from 5 back into 6 and never really got straight. It was always jumping on the turn. And it's a difficult moment to judge just exactly where you're going to be when you get up to the next fence. Now, this man judged it perfectly last night. If you were with us here in Gothenburg in the Scandinavian, it was a superb win from Robert Whittaker. Then with Equine America, Vimento. Now with Equine America, Gentleman Vanet Vidlihoff, the 20-year-old stallion, by quite easy. But of course took him to the win in the world famous Al Shearer Derby at the All England Jumping Course in Hickstead last year. Rob, who did the Hickstead double by winning the King George on Vimento, which was his second King George win. And arriving back here shows that he's always seemingly gone quite well at, just like his dad. Rub. Oh, he knew he was in trouble from the way that he got to the first one. He was just getting pulled in slightly and ended up jumping in almost too well to that combination. Nice round, but again, as we see, finding their way to picking up a fence down. The delicate balance is a tough one to work out over all these fences, but hopefully at some point, Robert, you need to update your picture, mate. The FEI system. Still got a picture of Robert when he was in his young rider days. Although, to be fair, he hasn't changed that much. So bad luck tonight. 1 or 2 for Great Britain. Dad John, as I've mentioned, is here, although he's not jumping in this particular class this evening. Now, it's the turn of Kim Emmen. She's fresh back from the United Arab Emirates as well. She was part of the Dutch team at the Longines League of Nations just a week or so ago. If that, no, not even a week or so ago. It was last week. How time flies. And Big Boston has flown straight back to be part of this, having finished in the top 5 in that winning round with Kim on the final day in Abu Dhabi. Kim, to remind you, had that brilliant trip to Basel with Imagine, who is also here, the big grey that has been such a star part of her stable over the last few years. She won the Grand Prix and was second in the World Cup qualifier. Oh, hang on a moment. It all seemed to come as a little bit of a surprise when they came round the corner, unfortunately for Kim. There's an awful lot to look at. I do think the horses just maybe get a little bit confused over which fence they should be aiming for. It to the 4. But of course time penalties now coming into the equation as well as she goes over the 71 seconds from the stop early on, but never touched a fence. Certainly not to be for Kim on this particular occasion with Big Boston, the 12-year-old stallion by Balubet Drouet. So Daniel Deusser has put quite a bit of pressure on those riders with that early, very fast clear from the third slot in the draw. This is the replay of, you can see actually Big Boston came around the corner. He was looking at that little trade quite a long way out, wasn't he? He caught an eye of it as soon as he got round the corner and was never quite sure. Coming back down the slope to meet the FEI team out the back there. We in the meantime turn to Germany and Patrick Stillmeier here with the 12-year-old called HH Chacothago, the stallion by Chaco Blue out of a Cantagos Bear. A decent opening day in Amsterdam with this horse. This is also a horse he jumped on Nations Cups last year, again in that 3-star EF Series 14 Germany. Jumps it, but has it down. Been the most amazing feeling riding in this arena. I was just looking sort of from that rider's height perspective of this big auditorium, the way the audience just climb up to the ceiling beside you as you're riding round. And the crowd hugely passionate and enthusiastic. They've been having a great day. Unfortunately, from Patrick's point of view, his day isn't ideal as he's finished on a score of 4. So that was Germany's second chance, but Germany, of course, still leading the way, and with more to come a little later. Still just the 2 clears out of the opening 8 that have jumped. This particular fence and that particular pole have been causing its own problems. Well, the next to go. Already in as one departs. Back out down the slope, and in already is Geir Gulliksen. So tonight he's riding Island VG. I've said a few times, but it stands to be said again. I mean, this man one of the most experienced riders here, there's no question about that. But these horses have all been going so well this winter season. He's been having some cracking performances wherever he's been, from London to Hong Kong, and now here in Gothenburg. It's gelding now 13 by VDL Zorocco Blue. A bit of work hard there. You can see the way he really sat in and held Island back to find that stride. And then he's ended up going a little bit wide, and it is one of those awkward moments in a course, because you can see, in fact, that gives you a great view. One, you've got a big, powerful parallel. You need to really get the power up over. It's already landed you past the fence that comes next. And there is an option to turn in, but you're turning back to a plank. Well, if he leaves the last one standing, he'll go third. And third he'll go. Well done, Geir Gulliksen. Continuing what has been a tremendous run of form this winter, as Ireland VG delivers, and clear round number 3 goes into third. Germany, Sweden, Norway, the 1, 2, 3. Just having a look up the clock. See, they just took that option, came wide, but sometimes that's the right way to go. Kevin Stout, who was a lot quicker, 10 seconds quicker than Jimmy, ended up having a fence down, and it was the plank that went down. Being met by his groom as he walks back down the slope. Here is Vitiki. And another of those that perhaps have worked out. I have a little bit of a soft spot for this horse. This lovely gelding, now 18 by Valentino, is of course the ride for Yuri Manser. Comes here after a very strong performance in Bordeaux with 2 top 4 finishes, of which one was in the World Cup leg. Ooh! Little hop and a skip, and he's still got away with it. Vitiki showing his experience. And again, just hanging up in the air. Wow. He's jumping like a youngster. Beg your pardon, a little cough. But this is Vitiki. He's come inside as well. Not going to be that far away. I wonder if he can get himself up into second. They say, oh no! Oh, didn't really look to deserve that. To be fair, whether it be skill, luck, or a bit of both, he used it where he needed to in other parts of the course. And 58.01 would have got him up into second, and fortunately the last has gone. Bad luck to both of you. Cracking effort, but quick to walk away from that. I mean, look at that. Hands up in the air. Can't really counter that. Bad luck. So we move on. We've already seen one from France, and we've got another coming our way in just a moment. Here he is, Julien Akotin. Riding Cornet Chavigny. The Cornet Oblensky gelding, the 10-year-old. One of the horses he took out to Hong Kong back at the end of the year, end of January. Since as well jumped in Bordeaux. Julien never particularly slow, is he? But again, it's that golden pole. Certainly proving to be the most expensive when it comes to faults. Closely followed by the plank. It is 8 by the end of the course. 64.85 is the final time. To wrap things up there for France's Julien Akotin. Actually, France's only other chance this evening, because we've seen Kevin already, so it's going to be a French winner tonight. Still at the moment, Germany out in front. Daniel Deusser leading the way. Well, we've got 3 more before we take a little arena maintenance pause in proceedings. And now we're going to have another go for the Netherlands, because it's the turn of Harry Smolders, world number 16. Great to see Mr. Tack back. The non-stop gelding, the 14-year-old that won the champion out in Hamburg. A lovely win in Monaco last year, as well as winning a Grand Prix in Valkenswaard. They went on to finish second in the 5-star Grand Prix in Dinar. And then, of course, also helped Ireland to the win. Sorry, helped the Netherlands to the win in Ireland in the Aga Khan. But then after Spruce has had a little bit of a holiday, and he came back 2 weeks ago, jumped in a 2-star in Belgium. First 5-star back for 2026 for Mr. Tack and Harry Smolders. Sensible. He's also got Monaco here. Certainly not short of horsepower this week. It's beautifully through the combination, keeping the balance. Now, does he come on the inside? He does. Very smooth, very neat, very tidy. The only place he's given up any sort of time was on the turn back to the plank. He played sensible there. To remind you, we've only got 3 clears, and that now is number 4, but goes into 3rd for Harry Smolders. Mr. Tack is back, and I think for your first 5-star back, that will be the sort of round that Harry will be only too pleased to have jumped. He was never looking to try and race the time of Daniel Deusser. In terms of coming in and putting in a really nice showing and delivering a nice clear round. Of course, he'll end up somewhere in the placings, I'm pretty sure, the way it's gone so far. He did give the middle, I think, a little nudge in the combination. I think I heard a tap, but that was about the only pole he touched. Daniel Deusser, Petronella Anderson, Harry Smolders, Gigelkson, the 1-4, the 4 clear rounds. And now it is another for Germany with a Vivantus. Philippschulze to top off, got himself into the jump off last night. Now with the Vivant 11-year-old gelding out of a Balyderue mare. The team watching on from the side. Now it was Carla that he rode yesterday evening. I would say is obviously his top horse. Juventus put in a decent round in Neumünster in the 3-star just 2 weeks ago. After the plank. Well, still, despite having a fence down, keeping up the rhythm, comes on the inside line. With the second to last going down, ends up on a total of 8, unfortunately. I mean, it was a decent time. Anything sub 60, to be honest, is pretty decent with the clock. But 8 penalties being the score. Cannot better. the noise has gone up because of the next one has just come in. So sub 60 there for Philip Schultz to top off. Gosh, it's got noisy in this arena. Who could it be? Don't mean to be upstaging that young man, but when these two come forth, that you're about to see at some point in a moment, of course, the noise lower. Here they are. Any guesses? Didn't really need the graphic or for me to tell you, did you? Malin and Indiana. World Championship team gold, Olympic team gold, and of course a lady that has been just an ever-present part of this event and of Swedish sport ever since she appeared in ponies, really. And then of course with the wonderful butterfly flip, really did make a name for herself. Again, now she's keeping it tight on the rollback, but she again elected to go wide. It certainly is the better option. And Indiana looking fit and well. Had a little bit of time off since Leipzig. He was 6th in the equivalent class to this one in Leipzig. Oh, confidence into the second from last. Now turns up to the last. Almost went wide, but turned in with confidence. Knew they'd be okay. H&M Indiana goes into 3rd. Harry Smolders drops to 4th. And Malin makes it Sweden now 2 and 3. As H&M Indiana looking pretty decent. As this crowd are very happy just to see those two together. The mare's looking really fresh, isn't she? Which is lovely to see. She's really enjoying herself in front of that crowd. So, Daniel Deusser at the break leads the way. Petronella Anderson sits in 2nd, and Malin and H&M Indiana have just jumped into 3rd. That is how it looks halfway through, with 15 gone and 15 still to go, but there's some very quick riders and horses in the second half of the draw. But it is Daniel Deusser and Attila de Gordon-Bloom that lead the way, ahead of Petronella Anderson and Odina van der Klapshoot. It's a Stefek Stables 1-2 at the moment. Malin now 3rd, Harry Schmolders with Mr. Tack in 4th, and Geir Gulliksen the other clear round in 5th place. We take a short pause. We come back on FEI TV with the second half of this qualifier for Sunday's Longines FEI Jumping World Cup here in Gothenburg. Back soon. Welcome back, live with you in Gothenburg this evening. There's the second half of the draw as they continue to try and chase Daniel Deusser at the top of the order. But as you can see, there's some big names still to come in this class. Some fast combinations. Who can chase down 56.84? Daniel, who was very early to go, but set quite some standard on Otello. Now the chase is very much on, as this now Portugal's opportunity with Rodrigo and Statis Conti, the 12-year-old stallion by Staccato. For Rodrigo Garcia Almeida, this track of Peter Schumacher's. Time allowed, if relevant, is 71 seconds, although it's a one-round faults and time, so it's not really keeping us much to think about. 5 clears, though, out of the opening half of the draw. Back there from Conti. Comes around the ATG fence. Second fence on the course. And he still has the plank down despite giving himself more space. He might even pick up time. May actually be okay with the clock in the end, but it is 8:69.15. 2 fences down for Rodrigo Garcia and Statis Conti. So nothing changing at the top of the line in terms of this competition here this evening, the qualifier for Sunday's Longines FEI Jumping World Cup. We're live with you all week here in the Scandinavian for the Gothenburg Horse Show. 60,000 euros on offer in the prize fund of this particular competition. Well, next up, the Italian Giampiero Garofalo. His 10-year-old gelding called Corriere Vent Richthof. This gelding is by Mesito Van Het Hillyhoff, out of a Tangelo mare. Finished third in the Grand Prix in Bilbergen back at the end of January. Some good shows there, actually. Jumped pretty well. Ooh, he's come inside. He's taken the risk and he's jumped the plank. And he's got over the parallel that follows. Ooh, little rub. And again, tapping with toes. Needs to be gentle. Comes on the inside line again. Oh, Giampiero just dived a little bit at the second to last and Ants the last as well, so it is 2 down, 60.81. He would have otherwise found his way into third. He did the really difficult turns and did them well, but unfortunately has 2 fences down right at the very end of the track. But great effort. Can't fault the man for trying, because this turn is far from easy, because You really are asking a lot, and as you can see, you unbalance the horse so easily on that rollback, but it just dived a little bit. So often one fence down leads to another. Right, on we go. Sweden again. Of course, sitting second and third, the two Swedish riders we've seen. Still, though, looking for somebody to try and challenge Daniel Deusser. Could it be these two? Marcus Westergren here with Calando de Carmel. Getting a lot of cheers. It's his first show of the year, or international show of the year, because last year he wrapped up with that second place in the World Cup qualifier in Mechlin on Rico dell'Esprized. He also won the Grand Prix on Figliani in Herning. Again, with the pole falling, the chance goes away. Well, regretfully, one fence down and 62-67, neither quick enough nor lucky enough in terms of being able to jump the clear, but great to see him here, and I'm sure there's some big classes to go. Of course, there's another 5-star competition to come tonight. There's 2 5-star classes, including the Volvo class tomorrow night, and then the World Cup qualifier here on Sunday. I think there's 2 classes actually on Sunday. Daniel Deusser, Petronella Anderson, Malin baryard-johnsson, the 1, 2, 3 here on a Friday night in the Scandinavian. That was the pole staying up at the last. Well, the next to go, second of 3 for Norway, first of which was his father, who sits in 5th. Now it's Johan Sebastian Gulliksen with his championship ride, and the horse that took him to 3rd recently in the 5-star Grand Prix and in Hong Kong, and also to 3rd in the World Cup qualifier in Basel back at the beginning of the year. It's been quite some start to 2026 for this man. It is Equine America Carriage VDL. He probably should add in his 3rd place in his home World Cup in Oslo. It's been a pretty amazing season through the World Cup shows this time round for Johan. He certainly wasn't waiting for the turn. You could see him looking for it in the air. This is a round that means business. Got a very tight turn back. He makes that turn look relatively easy, and he jumped the plank. No luck on the way into the combination, just really hitting that front rail in front. Well, what a shame he's had a fence down, because the time was sub 60 and we know that's good. It would have gone 3rd, but it goes 8th with a fence on the floor because there's some fast 4s. But great effort from Johan. Again, never going to fault a rider for doing what they can to try and challenge, and he certainly tried. It was just that moment. He almost had a little step, just a little jink as he came off that corner in terms of trying to rebalance things. And then ended up just a fraction too close. Still 12 to go, and still Daniel Deusser leading from the front. 56.84 is proving quite a challenge for both horses and riders. The bell now for Sonnen Mollerode. Been in tremendous form, and with grace actually. He was in the jump-off here yesterday evening in the big class last night. He, of course, also recently got himself into the jump-off on his other horse in Bordeaux in the Grand Prix. That was with Evolution when he was in the top 6. Now this mare, she's 12 by Darko Deravel out of a contender mare. And again, putting together a really smooth round of jumping so far at the middle of the combination this time round. The deeper we've got into this competition, the more this course has shared out its problems. Well, finishing on that score of 4, 67.94 on the clock. One little slower on 4, so drops down into 12th place for the moment. Just the 5 clear rounds, though, has shown that it is a course that's tricky. Suitably so. Very jumpable course, but one that you just need the right level of care. Well, Germany next as well, with one of the most accomplished athletes in eventing and a multiple gold medal winner, including world champion, is Sandra Forth. Such a star in all round equestrian. It's great when she comes and joins us in the world of show jumping, and tonight with C'est la Vie, the 11-year-old by Crunch. To the combination now. Gets away with a little tap of the toe. Oh dear! Completely changed her mind. Decided she could see the stride and went for it, but unfortunately C'est la Vie wasn't on the same wavelength at that particular moment. Understandably, it's just put C'est la Vie a little bit out of sorts over the final few fences. Not to be tonight. Bad luck to Sandra. Just reaches forward. It's just one of those horrible moments when you're watching and you can see that instantaneous sort of breakdown in communication where horse and rider are not on the same page. Took the little pull, then she asked for the stride to go, and C'est la Vie just looked for another one. And then there were 10 more left. 10 to challenge. Daniel Deusser leading from Petronella Anderson and Malin baryard-johnsson. The 1-2-3 has not changed for a little while, as this now is the turn. The round got better as it went on for Dancing Queen and Lars Kjærsten, but he ends up with a total of 12, 68 on the clock, 68.30, 68.30. After the Dutch riders is still the round with Mr. Takavati Smolders, who sits in 4th place as it stands. The bell already sounding for the next to come forward. Keeping them moving here tonight. This is Finland's Anne Heppi riding Callboy. One of the young talents in the sport, 22 years of age, part of the Young Rider Academy. Been a constant part of the youth championships as she's come up through the ranks, including juniors and young riders. She's riding this evening. Callboy, now 14, has been a big part of that journey by Calendro. Very unusual fence for the way that it's, because it was Kim Emmon, wasn't it, that came round, and Big Boston just caught a glimpse of it and wasn't really very sure. Jumped it perfectly on the second attempt. Well, the bell has gone to restart this round. Penalties will become part of the score after that stop, and the rebuild, of course, also adding in 6 seconds to the time. Whether she jumps the last, she's not. Puts her hand up. Not tonight for Annie. Bad luck on Callboy. Decides to retire the second of the Finnish riders there we see here tonight in Gothenburg. A class that is still led then by Daniel Deusser. The third combination to go in the class still leads the way with just 8 more to come forward. Petronella Anderson sitting in second. It is a Stefex stable 1-2 for the moment. There's that early stop for Annie. 56.84 though is still what they try to chase down. Now the next to go is Belgium. Heads out for Polos. Now here's Cohen Verriek. He's been having quite a run. I mean, he had the 2 wins with his 2 horses, Olili and Kinona in Mechlin. He was in great form as well out in Hong Kong. And I think he had a win as well with Koena the other week in Newminster. But tonight, Merriweather. Merriweather Van T. Loringhoff, the mare by Emerald. Did well to shorten up in the middle of the combination. Got a bit of a touch coming out of the combination, but that stayed up. I was for a moment worried it had gone down. He's taken the wider line here. Still an impressive performance. Short on clears. Clear rounds are going to go up into the money very quickly. He won't be the slowest of the clears either. Top 5 for Cohen Verriek. Belgium now up there with Merriweather, keeping his impressive run. Clear round number 6 in terms of the jumping here in this 1-round class. 65.21. He's just that little bit quicker than Geir Gulliksen, who drops into 6th place, but the top 4 remain unchanged. Riders still to come for the Netherlands, Ireland, Norway, Sweden, Great Britain, Germany and Japan. It's curious what happened. It did look like... Oh, he did. He did get a bit lucky. For a moment, I thought that had gone, but of course, sometimes with the big overhead shots, I mean, I love the way the flowers are here. I've said time and again, it's one of the unique sort of, you know, you're in Gothenburg with the way that they decorate the jumps in this arena. And even if you look back at the old footage, back to the early years, the flowers and the arrangements very, very similar. It hasn't really changed. It's great. But it means you can't always see the poles. That's where I was going with that. Right, last night, this man, I didn't need to see the poles because he jumped a clear round yesterday evening. Heikin Sato, the Japanese star, the multiple championships that he's ridden in, and he's been having a pretty consistent run. He jumped very well out in Hong Kong with Milva RB. He also had that top 3 finish in Basel. This 9-year-old mare by $1 Million. Also gets away with a little tap of the toe. Being honest, he's again riding another superb round here. He's gone on the wide line, but he's able to keep up that rhythm. 2 fences left to go, and for a class that's been a little bit short on clear rounds, are we about to see another one? Oh, he's tapped it, but it stayed up, and he's gone into 5th. Coenbury didn't stay there long. Heikin Sato has delivered another superb clear. That's 2 in 2 with 2 different rides, as the form is certainly on the Japanese rider's side here in Gothenburg. He's performing brilliantly and the horse is going with him. So Heikin Sato, Milva RB into 5th. 64.75. Yes, it's still a margin away from the leading times. But I think you'll be pretty delighted with the way it's gone. Delivering the clears consistently at the moment. Germany's final chance. Of course, Germany still leading, and it's the young jockey, Joanna Beckman, up next. Another part of the Young Rider Academy, the 23-year-old German rider. He's been a medal winner coming up through the Youth Europeans. Riding here with Alpha Jet DB. It's going to be a long journey to the end of the course, having had the first down. Five to go. Joanna Beckman on 8 with Alpha Jet DB. Daniel Deusser, though, for Germany, still holding on at the top. 7 clear rounds. And now Great Britain. She got into the jump off here last night with Key West. Now Great Britain's Jodie Hall-McAteer rides Lagapadi, the mare by Van Gogh, the 10-year-old. She put in a cracking performance with this mare in Bordeaux's World Cup leg just a couple of weeks ago. I mean, she was unlucky. It was about 0.2 of a second over the time allowed. She ended up on a single time penalty, which I think gave her a top 6 finish. Now, there were only 4 clear rounds. A horse that's really showing. I mean, Jodie's got some brilliant horses now. She really is well horsed, and she's a jockey that's so capable at this level. When she's given opportunities, she knows how to take them. Just broke the rhythm with the step on the turn. And that fence is a classic example of why, again, just the way it's angled because of the fact you're coming off a curve, that sort of curved edge of the arena, just makes it a little bit more tricky. Not her night tonight. She's the sort of rider with the sort of horse that she could bounce back quite easily come Sunday. I'm sure she'll be looking to try and put the clear round in on Sunday afternoon for the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup leg. 1 of 2 legs left this season. Here this week in Gothenburg and then Helsinki next week. Of course, Helsinki now the last, having such an early date for the years, and now Helsinki's come at the end. Now there's the order: Daniel Deusser, Petronella Andersson, Malin, baryard-johnsson, the 1, 2, 3. But Sweden second, Sweden third. We know this crowd would like to see Sweden first. No offence to Daniel, but that means it comes down to Anna Olsson, who is the last of the Swedish riders. She's the first of the final 4 combinations. DDZ, the 11-year-old mare by De Fleur. It would be a big ask for these two to get past Daniel Deusser. Of course, a clear round at this stage of the class would guarantee a prize money, but the clear round isn't forthcoming. Comes home on a total of 8, 68.59 on the clock, and still the order at the top remains unchanged. Anna drops down into 20th place. Still 7 clear rounds. Clear rounds are going to pay prize money if one of the final 3 delivers one. That pole was the first of the 2 that got in the way for Anna and DDZ. Don't forget, there's another 5-star jumping competition to come up here tonight from the Scandinavian. Looking forward to bringing you that one a little bit later on as well on the platform. Now it is Norway once again, with the young lady that took second place in the World Cup qualifier in Korunia. Tonight she's riding Leonardo da Vinci JPP, but Charlotte Lingenvær. If there is one clear from Norway, that's Geir Gulliksen sitting in 7th. This 10-year-old stallion by KI Paradero. It's out of an I'm special to Moose mare. Ada's pushing on here. Well, she's having to take the wide line. She's playing a little bit safe. Still clear. Is this going to figure into proceedings if she can jump the last, which she has, and delivers a clear to go into the top 6. Nicely done from those two, Leonardo da Vinci. And Oda Charlotte Lingenvar has jumped her way up into the top 6. Norway with 2 clears here tonight. And plenty of support from the Swedish crowd for the Norwegian rider. Look how happy she is. To be fair, that would be one of their best performances together this season indoors. Riding with a lot of confidence. Well done to those two. Really has come together tonight. Don't you just love it when a plan comes together? Can either of the final two do anything about Daniel Deusser? Perhaps the big challenges are at the end, starting with Dennis Lynch. His star stallion, Vista Grand, the 13-year-old stallion by Fantaland, that has been his sort of championship and team standout horse. Had that top 5 finish in the Golden Drum to start this year off in Basel. Bet against Dennis Lynch at your peril, but let's see what they can do. Looking nice and fresh. I said that in London. He's been looking good ever since. So Vista Grand had a bit of time off after Dublin last summer. Came back in London just before Christmas. Sadly, offence goes down. Got deep to the last, and that's gone as well. So 8 is the score, 62.13 is the time for Dennis and Vista Grand. One more left. Daniel Deusser is edging ever closer. It always looked like it would be tough to see that round get beaten. We saw the performance with Otello and Daniel so early in the draw. But there is one combination left, and you just don't know what's quite going to happen, because that is the order with one left. The last in, of course, is the Dutch star, Willengreve. Now with Pretty Woman, he's won 2 World Cup legs this season. And tonight he's got Grandorado TNNOP, another big star, part, of course, of his stable and a major Grand Prix and World Cup winner. Had that time off after Barcelona, reappeared to finish in the top 5 of the World Cup in Mechelen. Had the win as well in that 150 in Amsterdam. Again, just to push quite hard off the corner, but Grandorado's so scopy. What about that for a turn? Oh no, it's gone. Didn't work full marks for the effort. I mean, he rode, it was an absolutely superb bit of riding, despite the fence going down, to have that level of control and balance and stability to be able, and confidence, just to be able to turn in like that. He ended up just that little bit too tight, so the order is set. It's not going to change. And over the final fence goes Willengreva and Grandarado TNNOP. Frustrating 64.29, although he did slow down considerably once he'd had the pole down. But Pretty Woman is also here this week, so it'll be interesting to see who he rides on Sunday. I guess he had to make his mind up and find out. Jumped Pretty Woman last night, so Grandarado jumping tonight can then make his decision as to who he wants to jump in the World Cup on Sunday, and that of course is where the focus will head. And Daniel Deusser has shown again what amazing form he is in, with a win already on the Western European League this year, and second in Bordeaux just recently. In the qualifier for this leg on Sunday in Gothenburg, he's won again with Ortello de Goldenburn, and it is a 1-2 for the Stefex stables, because Petronella Andersson with Adina van Kachut has come second. The Swedish rider, the best for Sweden in front of the crowd tonight, ahead of their amazing, just sort of darlings there, Malin and Indy, finishing in third. Great to see Mr. Tack back. Harry was never really pushing, but he still ends up in fourth. Great performance for the second night in a row from Mike and Sato, ahead of another cracking round from Odar Charlotte Lindver to round out the top six. Now the focus, of course, for the qualification for Fort Worth in Texas is to look to Sunday. And of course we'll bring you live coverage of the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup here in Gothenburg on FEI TV. But across the platform with Clip My Horse TV, of course, we'll also bring you all of the other international jumping sport that takes place here, including the big class that's still to come tonight. Enjoy. Look at that for a partnership that just can do no wrong, really. They just get better and better. Well, as they get set down there to welcome them in for the presentations, I'll leave you enjoy that part of the ceremony and come back a little bit later for the five-star class that's still coming up here from the Scandinavian this evening. And that, I'm just double-checking my times, is due to get underway now at 9:40 Central European Time, 9:40 this evening. For those of you looking forward to joining us for that one, we'll be with you in about an hour and 20 minutes, wherever you're tuning in from around the world. It's been great to have you on FEI TV. And of course, we're live with the five-star across the platform with Clip My Horse TV throughout the rest of the show. Back in a little while. Enjoy the presentations. Well done again to Daniel Deusser.
Välkomnar vi vdn för Högs, Kajsa Claesson med varm applåd. Segaren, winner, Germany, Deusser. So ladies and gentlemen, it is for the national anthem, national song.
Så ställer du dig bredvid och så tittar ni bara in i kameran lite grann.
Sedan för som skulle med Malin baryard-johnsson.
Daniel Deusser, congratulations. Not your first win here in Scandinavia with Göteborg, but I'm sure a very, very special win.
Yeah, absolutely. I haven't been here for 2 or 3 years, but I have very good memories here. I always like to come back. It's a fantastic show with super crowd. And of course, if you're done able to win a class, that's exactly according to plan, and I really enjoy it here. And he also, apparently.
And Daniel, you had an early draw. You were early in the class. Not easy coming so early, but you took every inside turn. There was nothing you could have done any quicker.
Yeah, okay, I had an early draw, but I knew my horse is naturally not a really fast one, so I was looking a little bit for the inside turns. I decided to take the 3 inside turns that we could, And in these things, he's actually very clever. He stays really cool in between the jumps, and yeah, that's at the end why he can win these classes.
Congratulations on a superb victory. Thank you.
Thank you.
Applåderna till Daniel Deusser för